Hey there, welcome to another episode of the Expedition Marriage Podcast. And I've got to say, I am excited about today's episode because we have a special guest joining us. Her name is Pamela Hinkelman, and she's actually somebody I met and talked to quite a bit over on Instagram. And I know you're going to enjoy her as much as we do. And so let me tell you a little bit about her. Pamela is a certified empty nest coach. She's a speaker, writer, and the host of the Midlife Mama podcast. With her bright smile and, I have to say, fabulous glasses, she has an enthusiastic personality, and she is passionate about encouraging women, particularly the often forgotten group of the moms with adult children. Pamela helps Christian moms launch their kids to college and enjoy their empty nest. As a mom of 5 grown kids and 2 grandsons, she has first-hand experience with the challenges and joys of navigating the empty nest phase of life. She, along with her pastor husband, are living their best empty nest life and loving every minute of it. So buckle up for this great episode as we talk about how to support your adult children during the holidays and still have joy. Pamela, welcome to the podcast. I am legit excited to have this conversation with you.
Normally, I'm the excitable one.
Normally he is the excited. Well, you're excited too.
I am excited.
You're excited too. But you're going to help us speak to a demographic that we're a part of. And I just love that. I love that because you talk about these empty nest moms being the forgotten group, and they are. They are. And I love that you have a ministry to help these moms out. And I know I could speak personally to going through those empty nest years. And we have 3 adult daughters now, and it's a lot of blindsides happen during those years. And I struggled with that. When our second daughter went off to college, I was like in the kitchen with a box of her favorite cereal, crying on the floor. Yes.
Totally normal.
Right, exactly. And you know what? I needed somebody like you to say, you know what? It is totally normal. And so it is a big transition, and you spend your whole life pouring into your kids. And then all of a sudden they leave you, which is what you raised them to do when you realize.
Why you want to leave me?
Yes.
Why you want to leave me?
Why do you want to leave?
Right.
So I would have loved to have had a empty nest coach, that midlife mama coach, to help me through those seasons. So I love that we're going to be talking about all this today. And yes, this episode is going to be for primarily that empty nest mama, but also if you're a young mom and you're listening, this is going to be for you too. And I want you to stick around because 1, you're going to be there one day. Right. And 2, it will give you some grace and some insight into the transition that your mom, even if she's an overbearing mom and all that stuff that you help women with, there's going to be grace that she's needed because it's a big life transition.
And if I could throw in real fast, just because guys don't turn off, this is not like, there's the husbands out there going, oh, I don't need to listen to this one. Oh, no, yes, you do. You do because you need to be there to support your wife, and you need to be an understanding spouse who gets what's going on, who then you're able to step in and be able to support and bear your wife's burdens with her as God has asked you.
Amen to that.
Yes.
Amen to that.
Let's hear it for the boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my transition, I got there, I arrived, we're having a great time and all that. And I know you and your husband have a fabulous time as an empty nest couple. But what was this transition like for you? You've got 5 kids.
Yes.
And so you had to do this 5 times over.
Yes.
And it is, forever. I thought it'd get easier.
Like
it did not get easier.
A fingernail each time.
It is.
Yes.
So what was your journey like? Because obviously something led you to doing what you do now. And I'm going to guess it's going through this 5 times.
Exactly.
That's what makes you an expert.
Exactly. It's going through it 5 times and feeling so confused. Like, why is no one talking about this? I don't understand because this is a big deal. I feel like it's as big a deal to release our children as it was to become moms. We're in that same place of feeling, well, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. And we had what to expect when you're expecting. There aren't books like that for us now.
Yeah.
And so just I'm an exhorter, I'm an encourager. And so that's the heart of why I started this, is because I just didn't want moms to feel so alone.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can be a really lonely season of life. And especially as we're talking, because, the timing of this episode, Christmas is coming.
Right.
We just went through Thanksgiving, and that it can put the loneliness you experience on steroids.
Exactly.
When you have kids who they don't necessarily come home for the holidays, or they start doing different things. I know.
Yeah.
And
Shocking.
it really is, this season is about transitioning from parenting to supporting.
Right. Exactly.
And so that's what I really want to talk about, because that is a big transition. So what are your holidays looking like? What have some of your holidays looked like with your adult kids?
Right. So our oldest got married while they were just finishing up college. And I remember the first Christmas they came down to us and they sat down and they were so mature. And they said, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to Shelly's house for Thanksgiving, and then we're going to come to your house for Christmas, and then we're going to flip-flop. And I said, well, look at that. I was like, that just seems like a very reasonable thing to do. We have to share these children. Did I like it? No, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at first. That's normal. It's normal for moms to go, oh, I don't want to change. I don't want anything to change because it was so precious. But I think what a mom needs to understand is her best gift that she can give her family is flexibility and adaptability. For a mom to assume that her Christmases are going to remain the same for the rest of her life is just heartbreaking. That's not real. That's not reality. That will cause pain for your children. And so I didn't want to be that mom. I just didn't want to be that mom.
Nice.
Yeah. And I love that. And we work with a lot of younger couples or couples in the prime of parenting. And this is a big stressor from them. And when I took this poll on Instagram about moms having problems feeling guilted, or they feel bad, made to feel that way from their parents. And a lot of them said, well, it's my mom doesn't do it as much, but my mother-in-law does. Yes. And so this is encouragement for you as a mother-in-law as well. And I don't know if many of the adult children are voicing to their parents what their real desires are.
No, they're terrified.
Yes.
Because they know darn well that mom is going to have a fit.
Right. So what do you tell the moms? What do you tell the moms who are the moms who, I don't want to say controlling, but because a lot of it's just fear-based. It comes out of pain. But what do you say to that empty nest mom who feels like, you know what, no, they should come home, and this is what we've always done, and where it is, they're setting their kids up to have a difficult time putting boundaries up with them.
Christmas.
Right,
exactly.
Right.
You're not ruining Christmas. Think about, there's another family just like you. There's another family, if your child is married. So this family over there, they don't have any value? You're the only one who matters, and that's just not how it works. I mean, I think about if we love Christ, that character should flow through us and the way we respond to people. And so, gosh, Mom, it's a choice that we have to make. It's a choice that we have to make for the good of the family.
Yes, because that is, it is about how do we support our adult children? How do we help shape them into being good moms who can set boundaries and who have the ability to protect their own family, the sanctity of their family they're trying to have. And I always think, like you were saying, that there is this whole other family. And I think with my own children, because we just spent Thanksgiving alone, all of our kids were somewhere else and it was just us, and it was okay. But that was kind of the mindset I took on was, you know what? I am allowing an opportunity for more people to love my children.
Exactly.
And I think that, and so a lot of it, what do you think is the biggest mindset shift that moms need to make when it comes to letting their kids go and start creating their own traditions?
I think moms have to understand that our grown children are not responsible to make us happy.
Yes.
That alone will change everything. Yeah. Happiness and joy, contentment, that comes from the Lord. That doesn't come from how circumstances are. It's like a deep, deep peace that we have from knowing God. And so to choose that over just causing strife in our family, I do not want to cross. I don't believe that moms wake up and say, I want to cause strife in my family today.
Right.
But the to-do list for this morning.
Let's make everybody mad.
Yeah.
And
So how do you encourage moms to maybe have these conversations? Because many moms, like I was
Yes.
saying, the adult children don't speak up. So how do
Yes.
you encourage these moms to go, you know what? Ask them.
Yes.
Ask
Yeah, that's
if what we're doing is okay.
yes, yes. This is it. I say, moms, you have to be a leader in this conversation
Mm,
because your children are actually probably nervous about bringing it up because they
yeah.
don't want to hurt you. They don't want
Hmm.
to hurt you at all. And so it's so great when moms can say, ask a couple questions. What are you thinking about the holidays? What do you like best about what we do? Is there something that you would like to do different? Is there something that you would like to take off the table? A tradition that we've already done that you're like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I
Mm.
literally texted the family and I said, we've been doing this we decorated a gingerbread cookie. It's a competition. It's very
You're that family.
we're that family. And I said to everybody, there's 11 adults and 2 grandkids. I said, do we need to not do that anymore? And then I braced myself. I'm like, oh no, what if? And then a few people texted back and they said, well, we don't have to do it, but if we don't do that, we want to do some other activity that would be fun. And then another one chimed in, no, I kind of like it. And then another one chimed in and said, well, if we get a bite out of Ryan's cookie, then he won't win. Then yeah, I will do it. Our son-in-law, Ryan, wins all the time.
That's so funny. We did
terrific.
that one year where we're like, okay, we're the Christmas matching pajamas family.
Yes.
And we had asked, does everybody still want to do it? And
Yeah.
like, we got mowed down over
It
that.
was
They're like,
almost a violent
like, no, we're
No.
getting matching pajamas. They did not
was
want to stop
on
that.
the edge of mutiny.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
that's
love
awesome.
it. And so
Yeah.
it is good to check in. And when
Yeah.
I was speaking to another mom, and she was almost talking about this situation in reverse, because there's a really fabulous thing about being empty nest moms too.
Yeah.
Like, this is a fun stage of life. When you deal with all this stuff and you transition, it's really fun. And she was almost, because you were talking about as moms, like being the leader.
Uh-huh.
Well, for her, the situation is, okay, it's almost flip-flop where the kids are like, Mom, come do this, come be with us, come to our house. And she's like, but I want to do the traditions I've always done.
Oh,
And I kind of
wow.
want to have our holiday too. So do you ever
Yeah.
run into that where
Absolutely.
it's almost flip-flop where the empty nest mom needs to have some boundaries with the kids?
Yeah. So if the kids are asking too much, of course we can just say, no, we're not up for all of that. But I think it's wise to mix it up. Like if one year my son wanted to cook Thanksgiving and I'm like, what? Yes. So we jumped in the car and did the 6.5 hour drive. And he cooked it all. And I was just like, this is amazing. Wow. And so, because some moms think it can only be a holiday if it's in my house on the same day. And that just is not, I don't care when my family gets together. I am happy. I do want us all together as much as we can. And so we try to find the date. For several years now, our family celebrates Christmas on New Year's so that they can all be with their spouses because 4 of the 5 are married.
Yeah.
So and I just want to be together. I just want to be together. It doesn't matter when.
Yeah.
And I love that because like what I'm hearing behind all this is there's such a bigger goal.
Yes.
Than just having everybody at my house, than just keeping a tradition. It's like the goal of supporting and encouraging your kids, helping them start their own traditions, and giving, like, it is a gift of peace you're giving your kids during a very joy-filled but also stressful, especially if they're parenting young little kids, season of life. And it's like the bigger picture is you're helping your adult children. You're teaching them boundaries. You're teaching them. And I think like the mom who gives freedom and who engages and who leads in those conversations, wouldn't you agree that that's the mom that the adult children actually turn to more?
Yes, they want to be around her. They really do. They really do. I love that so much.
Yeah, because like the bigger picture is making their lives easier.
Yeah.
And then how do you focus on, because there feels like there's so much grief and loss. You know, I'm letting go of traditions of things we've always done, and we're not doing it at my house. All the change, and it feels like grief. Like how do you learn to see, like, what's the flip side of that? Where's the good stuff? And how do you like shift your perspective with that?
Well, we can't ignore the feelings.
Right.
We
Right.
have to plow through them. We have to process them with God, process them through prayer, through conversation, not in a negative way, like, oh, my kids, because that's not going to do us any good. But in honest, like, this is really hard for me. This change is hard. I just think God is so gracious with us. I think a mom who is tender God can do anything with a mom who is tender towards God, tender towards her family. And so just process through it and then understand, like, that season is over and it's okay. There's so much good ahead. We have to keep looking forward. I'm telling you, I think we have 4 years in the empty nest, and my husband and I walk around all the time saying, can you believe this is our life? Like, we can do whatever we want, whenever we want. Do you want to cook? And we'll cook up something really fancy. Lovely. We both love to cook. Well, I love to cook. He's my sous chef, but
Nice.
it works out very well. But then we're like, you want cereal? Yeah, let's have cereal.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful. So I'm a champion of the empty nest. I want women to understand that God has so much good for you after you're done being an active mom. It's a different role. Like you say, it's supporting. You're not so busy. And then let's talk about when we get to travel. What if one holiday we're like, no, Dad and I are going wherever.
Yeah, we're taking a cruise.
We can do that. We're taking a cruise. I have a dream of spending Christmas in New York. And I said to my husband, that's one of my dreams. He's like, oh, but that's lovely. Because I don't know that he necessarily liked the big city, but he's like, yeah, that sounds fun. And
how about just a Hallmark movie?
Yeah. In fact, in all the Hallmark movies, they're coming out of the big city, honey.
True.
You don't
They're
want
going
to
to
go
the
there.
country.
Let's go to Vermont.
Exactly.
Right. But I do love that because there really is so much goodness on the other side in that empty nest, but it doesn't feel like it. And it's, I think one of the biggest struggles or the biggest problems, and I can totally say this for myself, is moms put their identities in being a mom.
Yes.
And it's hard not to do that because that's what you're doing every single day. It's such a part of your life.
Well, when somebody's calling you at every 5 minutes, Mom.
Right.
It's hard not to.
But that's not where our identity belongs.
Exactly. I just think it's beautiful to know that motherhood was a role that we played, and it was lovely, and it was rich. But there are new roles ahead. I mean, grandparenting alone, hello.
Oh, my goodness. It's the best. It's the best.
It is the best.
Yeah, it's glorious. It's because it's legacy and family and your babies had babies and you just can't even believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you said that because it is about legacy. And I think as we have adult children, we're still creating that legacy. And so it's what do you think are some great things to keep before for the empty nest mom to keep before her for the legacy she wants to leave behind?
Yeah, to me, legacy isn't about things. It's about it's how you feel as a family. We get the best compliment in our family because there's 11 of us, and we don't all believe the same politically. Spiritually, socially, we all have different opinions, but we have done a really good job of maintaining our family bond, respect for one another's differences, respect for where we're at, and just love for each other. That goes so far, and that is legacy to me.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because our kids will be the longest relationship of our family. When we're long gone, our kids will still have each other, and I so want our kids to be friends. And I love that they are. I feel like that's the best win that I can have.
I love that.
No, that's a great thought. I've never really thought about it that way. Because it's as parents, God willing, we pass before our children and don't ever have to go through that. And so, what are our kids? Their relationship should be with their spouses and with their siblings.
Right. And I love the idea of the legacy is almost a little bit of how did your home feel?
Yes.
Could you come together, differences aside, and we still love one another, we still encourage one another and confide in one another, and just what is the feeling of home? And I think that's what, I think any person is going to run towards the place where joy is present, where the love of Christ is present, where acceptance is
and
present.
Respect.
Yes.
And humility.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah. I've been working on something for social media, and I think the quote was that we value connection over perfection. And I think a lot of moms get trapped in this, oh my gosh, Christmas has to be perfect and it has to look perfect and everyone has to, and it's like, it's never that way, right? Like something always goes wrong.
Yeah.
But so my goal is when the family is home for the holidays is that we just have connection. That's all I want. And so that's where a mom who is gentle and humble and willing to change, she will feel connected. But a mom who digs in her heels and resists change, she hurts her family.
Yeah. I like that is a hard truth to hear because we can, at the end of the day, moms can be persistent. We can stand our ground and know everybody's coming here. We've always done it that way and force hands in during the holidays, especially. But at what cost?
Right.
Exactly.
And it's like, if we do that, we may have a full house, but if our house is filled with a bunch of kids who are stressed out and angry and feel controlled and resentful, is that really the goal? What's the point? In that we've missed the whole mark. And so you're better off to have kids across the globe, across the states, where you're having a FaceTime conversation and you're seeing them unwrapped gifts and they're all happy and joy filled and you're connected and they want to share with you. That's a much better scenario than having them resentful sitting around your tree, mad that they have to be there.
Exactly. Like, when can we leave? That sounds horrible. I love have you read any Mary DeMuth's work? She's written like 40 books, but one of her latest ones is Love, Pray, Listen, and it's all about parenting wayward children. And she talks about, she said, when our children become adults, the hierarchy flattens in our families. And so therefore we all have an equal say. Yeah. It's not that mom and dad rule the roost anymore. Like they're grown now and we're all on the same plane. And so knowing that makes us realize that our kids' opinion matters. Yeah. What they want to do, like everyone's opinion matters. And so what can we do to just work together? It's like teamwork 101.
Yeah. And like you said, like it's the mom, like we're in a really great position to be able to lead that.
Right.
We're in the position to be able to say, hey, let me bring peace into the family. Let me bring contentment for everybody and forcing our kids to do all these things. And I remember when we were in that stage of parenting, a bunch of 3 little girls and all that and all these demands. And I had divorce rampant through my family.
Me
and
too.
you're like 5 different houses. It was so stressful.
Exhausting.
So stressful. Yeah. And I wanted a voice. Yeah. I wanted the playing field to be even. When you said that about the hierarchy, it's like, that's a great visual.
Isn't it?
Like I instantly saw that and it just flattened out.
You're like, whoa.
We're all here. And when we were in that stage where our adult kids are, we wanted a voice too. And so we forget about that as we get older because it all comes from like grief and needs and things like that and fears and insecurities. But that's something, we need to keep in check that, you know what, we wanted a voice then too.
It's that simple.
Right. Yeah. It's that simple, but it's not that easy.
But it's not that easy.
Straightforward's not necessarily easy. So, But I like that concept of moving from parent to peer.
Exactly. That's what it is. And it's beautiful. I remember we've only been in Illinois about 4 years. And so it was the first Christmas that we had moved Christmas to New Year's. And we had, our Christmases were always very full with lots of people. So when it went from, we used to have 100 people with my mom's family. That was Christmas for me. So when Bob and I came home from Christmas Eve services, and we made a lovely candlelight dinner to make it feel real special. But actually, I just sat and cried. I'm like, this is so different from my Christmases that I used to have. But, I needed to acknowledge that, yes, this is different. Now I'm like, ooh, Christmas Eve.
Yeah. That's right. So how did you get there? Like, how did you, because you probably did not have an empty nest coach. Yeah. And so, when you're sitting there in those moments, especially the first few kids, and it's like, gosh, this is so lonely. It's so different. You're forced into a change that you didn't ask for.
Yes.
And so you do have that grief and that sadness there. So like, how did you work all that out?
I just always work it out with God. That's just how I work everything out. I'm a journaler and a prayer, and I say, God, what's your perspective on this? And he's like, yeah, honey, it's okay. You can be sad. That's normal. Yeah. It's normal to grieve change. That's okay. But we don't have to get stuck there.
Right. I love that. Like letting God lead you in that and accepting the normalcy of it. Because if you had to list off a few things that are like some of the normal emotions during the holidays, during these times, or just empty nest moms in general, like what are some of the emotions that you find most of these moms are struggling with? Right. What are they feeling?
Definitely they're feeling sad. I think another thing that is hard for a mom to manage is her expectations. We always have, speaking for myself.
I was going to say, I just felt that one, Pamela.
No, it's like, I'm like the queen of great expectations. When am I going to learn? I don't know. I'm still learning. But these expectations that we have, and when they aren't met, then that's on us though. That's on us. Like, maybe if I could just chill a little. I got no chill. But I'm working on it.
Dial doesn't go below 75.
Exactly. So she feels sad. She might feel angry or bitter that she has to share her child, especially when those young marrieds are first going off to the in-laws. Like for some moms, they do not do well with that. And that could be a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
Yep. She feels scared. She feels scared that she's losing them, perhaps, that her relationship won't remain the same. But I can promise you, if you had a good relationship with your child when they were young, there's no reason it can't continue. And if something goes wrong, then be proactive and ask. Just say, did I do something? I think that's what moms need to learn, is just some level of humility to just always say, is there something that I did? It goes so far to just be honest. A lot of, I don't know, this is so normal for our family that when I meet families who don't know how to talk, I go, well, how do you do that?
Yeah. And I will say, like, as counselors, one of the most common situations we see in families is the elephant in the room and sweeping everything under the rug. Gross. And that doesn't fly. And it's like, when we're not talking about these things, you're leaving a lot of blanks to be filled in.
Yes.
And we're filling them in. Your kids are filling them in with negative.
Yep.
And
always
they're feeling like, well, mom didn't say we need to be there, but we need to be there.
Yeah.
We need to be there, and you're never going to get resolutions if you're not talking. And that is such an opportunity as the mom in the family to be able to start new healthy patterns and just open those doors of communication. But it's hard stuff. It's hard
you
stuff.
have to do the work. Like we say, like I've done so much work, but I don't know about you, but I want to be whole. I want to be wholehearted.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's the goal of loving Jesus and knowing God, is that we allow him to heal all those places that were deeply broken,
Yeah. And one of those things, like, we're not parenting per se anymore, but we're still modeling for our children.
Yes.
And so I want, even with kids in their late 20s and early 30s, I want them to look at me and go, I want to be like my mom.
Yeah. Exactly.
I want to have these traits. And if you think, like, what do I want to see in my children? What do I want for them? And then am I showing them that?
Exactly.
Am I leading them the way
Exactly.
to show them how to achieve those things?
Yeah.
So it's such a gift. And like the older, and this is another gift I think that comes with raising adult children, is the older they get, the more they realize the value you have.
Oh my gosh, yes. All of a sudden we got real smart.
Yes. All of a sudden it's like, wow, Mom.
Our IQs jumped 20, 30,
I know,
40
it's
points.
a miracle.
Yes. And it's like, we don't want to take advantage of that. We want to be able to go, you know what? I am somebody now that I am the wise mom that my kids can come to, but they're not going to do that if we're always trying to guilt. And
exactly.
I mean, is that one of the things, because I'm just going to guess here, but that seems to be one of the things that an empty nester mama kind of messes up, is the guilt and the manipulation.
Yeah, that breaks my heart. Oh, that breaks my heart. It goes back to, Mama, you can be happy if you don't get what you want.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, you got to deal with that. You got to deal with that on your own and stop expecting other people to make you happy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's a maturity thing.
You'll be much happier knowing you've supported your children and led them in healthy, godly ways than you will be in just getting your way.
And getting what you wanted. That sounds awful.
Right.
It can't feel very fun. In the family dynamic, in the room, that cannot feel good.
No.
It must be awful.
Yeah, everybody's walking on eggshells around Mom. And it's not a win. It's not a win. So tell me exactly what you do as a empty nester coach. Like, what is the process of you like helping women in this stage of life?
Right. Well, there's a couple areas that I help them with. One of the big ones is finding their purpose. Honestly, if you take the mom label away, a lot of women are, what am I? What am I now? But motherhood was a role. It was a beautiful role, but you have gifts inside of you that God actually used your motherhood to grow. That's the beautiful thing about it.
I love that.
Everything you experienced as a mother, God will use that in a greater way. Who knew? Who knew?
Right. Right.
Yeah, and then we talk a lot about boundaries, expectations. That expectations one will trip up a mom. I spend a lot of time talking about, how do you want to show up for your adult kids? I think that's such a great question. Like, if you've already decided how you're going to show up, then it's going to go better. Am I going to show up controlling and manipulative, or am I going to show up humble and tender, willing to listen, willing to empathize? That creates a whole different kind of dynamic with your adult children.
Yeah, and I really I think that is great, because those are questions we don't naturally ask ourselves.
Never.
You know,
never.
No.
I would not think to ask, how do I want to show up as a mom? How do I want my kids to see me? What value do I want to give them? How do I want my kids to feel, about their own lives and about me? Yeah. And so, because we just think so self-protectively. Naturally, it's like, oh, don't leave me, don't do this and all that. But when we really think, like, what's the purpose here? What can my role be? And how we want to show up, I think that is a game-changing question,
really
to be
is. It's my
asking.
favorite.
And I love that. And I love that you're helping women process this, because this is legacy-changing work. And if you could have blown all of your children's childhood and be in this place where, you're starting from a place of disconnection, showing up as a supportive, loving, encouraging mother now, even in adulthood life, that's a game changer too. That is possible.
Yep, it's totally possible. Saying I'm sorry goes so far. I hope that we practice. We should have been practicing this when they were little. Our kids need to know that we don't always get it right. That was a value that we carried in our family, and we would be quick to apologize. And so it still continues.
Yeah. And I appreciate that you're showing the flip side of this too, that we do have a purpose, and we're called in this stage of life to bring every stage we've even been through like God's going to do even bigger stuff with it.
Exactly.
And so like that's an exciting time, but we'll miss that excitement if we're always looking back.
Exactly. So
we can't move forward when we're stuck in the past, and when we're
Yeah.
constantly trying to recreate the past, we're going to miss where we should be going. And we've got adult kids who also their lives are going to be more peaceful if they know mom and dad are fine.
Yeah,
There's like, it's exciting for them to watch mom fulfill a purpose, to do things, to volunteer, to start a ministry. Like we've got kids who are watching both of us podcasts,
Yeah, they're like, what?
or not watching it,
Yeah, they're probably not watching. That's true. But how
but they still they support us.
Yeah, very supportive.
But for them to know, you know what, mom's fine.
Yes,
I can take the burden off myself for trying to make sure mom's okay. It's not my job to make my mom okay because mom's good.
That's right.
That is an incredible gift to give your adult children. And Pamela, I am a huge advocate for what you do. I think it is so needed. I think women need to be taking advantage of this. Even like as the kids start growing up, like get ahead of the curve. Let's talk about these transitions when you can see what's coming and that wave of grief hits you and you're on the floor with your box of cereal. You can know, you know what, this is normal. I can feel this. God's got good things for me. Right. And so I love that you have this ministry and that you do what you do. And so if you're in this stage of life or coming up on this stage of life, you have to reach out to Pamela and work some of this stuff out. And at the very least, get the support and the encouragement and the validation that you're entirely normal. Your world has been flipped upside down. And it's okay because there's goodness on the other side. So will you let everybody know where they can find you at? And I know you have a free resource you want to give out today and to any woman who contacts you. So let us know where everybody can find you at.
Sounds good. Well, let's start with my favorite social media, Instagram. You can find me at P. Hinkelman. I love being there. I love showing up to support moms in that way.
And you're so good at it.
Thank you.
So good at it. We're going to have all these links in our show notes too.
Yeah. And then at my website, PamelaHinkelman.com, you can find all my life coaching, my articles, I have a bunch of free resources. Podcast episodes are there. I host the Midlife Mama podcast, MOMMA. You can find that on my website or on any listening app, anywhere you want to find your podcasts. Yeah. And then, so my freebie I have is just this little 4-page guide, and it's called Your Kids Are Grown, Now What? Because honestly, we don't even know what we're supposed to do. But this guide looks at what you can expect in each phase of midlife motherhood. I've kind of broken it down into, are you the empty feeling mom, or the questioning mom, or the celebratory mom? That's where I am.
Oh,
that's where we are. We are celebrating. Yeah. So I think it just really helps a mom to be able to know, okay, this is what's coming up. It's normal to feel empty right now, but one day I will get to the celebratory. So that's just a great way to support moms. Yeah, I love this. I never imagined in a million years that I would be doing this. Like, who knew that raising my 5 kids would turn into something as wonderful as this? And then I also have a special ministry to moms of prodigals, because she is even a more silent mom who is just silently hurting. It is so sad that in our churches we're still not able to often come to a Bible study and say, hey, I have a prodigal.
Yeah, there's such a sense of shame that comes with it.
And failure, And so I do a quarterly workshop, and then I have a course, the Moms of Prodigals program, a course to inspire hope. And it's just a 6-week program, and it's just lovely. It's been so fun to go through that with the moms.
Yeah, that is so great. That's absolutely another needed ministry out there. So I love everything. I feel like I've said I love a lot this episode, but it is true. I'm a big fan of you. I love your social media, and I love what you do. And so we're going to share this information in our show notes. So reach out to Pamela, take advantage of these free resources, because these can be really, really good years, and you can have great relationships with your adult kids, and they're going to love it when you help support them in their lives and where they're at, and you can become their biggest resource. And that's going to be a really great thing. So shift your perspectives. This is a great stage of life. There's some pain that comes with it, but it's purposeful and it's good. And there's so much more. So thank you so much, Pamela. I love talking with you today. This is great information, and I know it's going to help and encourage and support a lot of those empty nest mamas out there.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. I love you guys so much. I just recommend you to all the married couples, and I can't wait to have you on my podcast in February when
we will be
talk
there.
About marriage. Yeah.
Yes,
looking forward to
that
it.
will be great.
Okay. Thank you.
But thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.